Hi. What's your name?
Priscilla Boyer.
You like Elvis Presley?
Of course. Who doesn't?
What are the kids listening to these days?
Bobby Darin, Fabian, and you.
Just what is the intent here, Mr. Presley? You got women throwing themselves at you. Why my daughter?
Well, sir, I happen to be very fond of your daughter.
Welcome to TCBCast, an unofficial Elvis Presley fan podcast. I'm Justin Gosman.
I'm Gertie Blitter.
I'm Ryan Drosty.
And I'm Beck Watts.
Hey, the whole crew's here for the first time since what? January? February? When did Lisa pass?
Yes, January, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What brought us all together like the Avengers? When you called out Avengers Assemble, what was the reason for this?
Yeah,
Justin
well,
Goss?
I mean, usually I wouldn't do this because clearly there was already one Priscilla trailer, but not only is there a second Priscilla trailer, but we also got a big announcement from Baz Luhrmann as well. So with two big announcements, I figured it was worth not only bringing you guys in through the portals, but also, interrupting our regular flow of episodes just for this. But yeah, so we're talking about the big announcement. I guess let's get that out of the way first, and then we can deep dive the Priscilla trailer. Baz Luhrmann has confirmed that he is in fact still working on a project related to Elvis on tour, and that's the way it is with unreleased footage from Warner Brothers. What do you guys think?
Well, I am very excited for it. I think I sent you the Instagram the second I saw it, Justin.
Yes,
and
you wasted no time.
I saw it that morning, and didn't really know a lot about what's in the works at that time. Have heard some things through some mutual friends, and then there was an article going around that said this might be in documentary form. So now we know maybe a little bit more. But I mean, anytime you can get unreleased footage. Now, let me just say, I know there's a lot of people talking about what do they mean by unreleased, because of the bootlegs. A lot of the hardcore fans have seen some of this footage before. But I mean, to the general public who aren't crazed Elvis fans like ourselves, it is unreleased. And so, I mean, even to have it officially released in any form is going to be very exciting, and we'll see what comes of this. Are we going to get any bonus shows? Are there going to be any full shows released? Is it just going to be documentary form? We don't know right now, but I think just having anything to look forward to officially from on tour, and that's the way it is in 2023, is pretty dang exciting. So I'm jacked about it.
So here's a question though. Like in his Instagram teaser, he's inferring that they've got reels and reels of unseen footage. So are you saying, Ryan, that some of it will have been seen?
I don't know about all of it, but yes, I think some of it will be, because I mean, over the years, a lot of this has gotten out at bootlegs. There's been multiple discs. That's the way it is, and on tour footage. So I'm sure some of that will show up, and a lot of the hardcore fan base will try to pull the gotcha. Look, we've seen that before, but I mean, to 99% of people, it is new. Now, maybe there's stuff nobody's ever seen. Who knows? I mean, that would be even more exciting.
And in that shot, in the teaser, is that a shot we've seen before?
I believe I did see some dialogue.
I think that has gone out.
Bootlegged.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
But like, for instance, I think just as an example of, like, there's a whole bunch of the rehearsal footage that is surfaced through bootlegs that we've all seen, and obviously we have the audio, but like, for example, Ghost Riders in the Sky was never actually released by Warner Brothers or Turner when they did the special edition. That only surfaced through fan bootlegs. So it's pretty remarkable that there's an opportunity for us to start to see stuff that the fans who are hardcore, like all four of us, that have really been scouring YouTube and scouring the uploads over the years, some of that may get a wider release. I'm really looking forward to the possibility of them touching the footage up in a nice way.
That's a big thing. It's obviously the footage will be much better quality now than at any time before, even if we have seen it.
Well, and that was the one criticism about the bonus features for the special edition, because they did put out on that Blu-ray, or on the DVD, and then subsequently on the Blu-ray, there was some additional footage as bonus features, some additional performances, but they were in really bad shape, like visual-wise. Yeah. So if they do a proper restoration, and I know some people have, been pondering on the socials as well, like, is it going to be a Peter Jackson Get Back style, full restoration? We don't know. We don't know what Baz has in mind. He teased it last year just ahead of the release of the movie. Just said, hey, because he had gotten a question, I think, on Instagram, where he had said, he had been asked by a fan, are you going to do anything about the on-tour footage? And he basically said, well, maybe. We'll wait and, just wait. But yeah, we're getting confirmation. He posted a small clip on on his Instagram, and what I appreciate is that I wonder if they're retransferring some of it, because it looks like because they're clearly running it through a little projector for them to to watch it. So I don't know. If they're retransferring it, that maybe bodes a little better in terms of maybe it'll be a new restoration for some of it. So
I want to hear what Gurdeep thinks, or has he gone off to have his dinner? Because he's very quiet, which is most unlike him.
No, I'm here. I'm just listening
there.
to you. I'm listening to you guys drool and dream
So what do
about
you
all
think?
this footage.
What do you-
I think it'll be good if they have stuff that we've never seen. Now, you guys say there's like footage that bootleggers have shown. I'm guessing that's the rehearsal stuff and a lot of the behind the little clips here and there, because I haven't seen that much of the footage. So I'm not sure what we have. The people who filmed it, have they confirmed? Have they been interviewed? Like, how much did they shoot? Did they shoot whole shows, or did they just do clips? Do you know that, Justin?
Ryan,
do we have confirmation that they actually filmed everything?
I don't think they filmed everything, but I think there were pretty extensive coverage, because most of the nights that they were there was multi-camera setups.
Aren't there bootleg? It has been a long time since I've seen. I know I have at least a 10 disc. That's the way it is.
Bootleg audio.
Set. No,
audio,
video.
right?
Video.
Yeah,
Video too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's been a long time since I've watched, but I'm pretty sure on some of those you have some shots where it's just extended from like the rear stage camera, and it's just constantly running. You get the counter at the bottom, so obviously this was snuck out of the vaults or whatever. I don't know about start to finish on the shows. I know they kind of make you think that, and that's the way it is. Special edition at the beginning, there's that caption where it's like shows were filmed over the course of however many nights or whatever. So
I was talking about Elvis on tour.
Yeah.
Did they film all of those?
They filmed a good number of those.
I'm just wondering, like, if WB, why were they just sitting on this if it had something substantial? Because there was that release. Was it in the mid '90s? The extended footage of That's the Way It Is.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think they would have released something if they had something substantial already?
There were rumors at the time that Ted Turner wanted to do another project in the lead up to that, and I don't think it did as commercially well as people thought it was going to. That's the Way It Is special. Like, certainly for Elvis fans, it was a real treat, but I think there was some of the chatter, and I apologize, I don't have a hard source on this, but I remember that a lot of the chatter around it was the idea that more casual audiences were very anti the Elvis jumpsuit look by the late 90s, and so they were worried that if they pushed further into 72, maybe it wouldn't be viable enough at the time. And I think enough time has passed, and we've had the Baz Luhrmann movie. He's, obviously, done a great job in terms of popular awareness and acceptance of sort of some of that later Elvis imagery in a way that hasn't been in a long time. So maybe there might be a chance.
That's true. The Elvis look that they were really pushing in the 90s and 80s was the younger Elvis. I mean, look at the stamp, the whole thing that happened with that. So that could be true. But I I don't want to dump a cold water on everybody's head, but I hope they're not like, I hope we're not just getting our hopes up, and it's not going to be just like a documentary on both of those older documentaries, and like a retrospective where he includes some unseen clips, but a majority of his stuff we've already seen. Hopefully it's not that. I hope it's like full shows like we all want, but until it comes out, I'm not going to be like, oh my God, this is coming, I can't wait. I think people should just keep their expectations in check.
Yeah.
Thanks, Go Deep, always bringing us
Flash. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks
Right
for
in
that.
the face.
So, yeah, the other big thing is, of course, the second trailer for Priscilla, which dropped today, October 3rd. And I take it you guys have all had a chance to dig into it. What are your top-level takeaways before we break it down? What's your read on the film now that, obviously there have been a lot more reviews. We've had that first trailer, and now we get a much better look at Jacob Elordi as Elvis, a little bit of his speaking voice. I guess let's start from the back and work our way up in terms of order of, how we came onto the show. Beck.
Well, I was reflecting on this after watching it, and I'll be honest with you, I've been really busy today, so I've only watched it 3 times. So when you break it down, I might not be able to comment on everything, but I would, from what I've seen, I would sort of define it as a perfectly nice movie. I mean, obviously I haven't seen the whole thing yet, but it just seems perfectly nice and inoffensive and, like almost like a Hallmark type movie. But saying that, I mean, I will say that it looks pretty good. Like, the quality of it looks pretty good. So in terms of Jacob, like, I know he's getting knocked around on the forums about his accent and what have you, but I'm going to stick up for him and say, look, Austin had 2 years to morph into Elvis, and this guy didn't. I don't know how long he had, but he certainly didn't have 2 years. And in terms of his speaking voice, it could have been really, really exaggerated. And whilst it isn't, an incredible impersonation, it didn't grate on me. But saying that, it was a very, very short trailer. So I think that's sort of where I am. I'm sort of a bit ambivalent, really. Brian, I think you're next.
Yeah. I'll say the things that my positive takeaways are, it looks better made than I was expecting. It's got a very capable writer and director, no doubt about it. But when I first heard about it, I was a little worried that it was, going to be rushed out and look really cheaply made. And it looks very well shot. The sets look good. The costuming looks very good in it. So in that manner, I was surprised. The colors really pop on some of those sets from the 60s, I thought, watching it. The negatives for me were the voice, as I commented on the Facebook group. I was not impressed by Jacob's voice, or at least what we hear in the trailer. It's small snippets, but there I was like, ooh, I cringed a little bit.
22. That's 22. You don't have to worry about it. Black hair and more eye makeup.
I don't know if I like it.
What do you mean you don't know if you like it?
He's not like you imagine.
And there is the issue, and this has been talked about before, but Jacob Elordi is 6'5". He's a really tall guy, and you can mask that, obviously, depending on how you shoot it. But there are a couple of scenes that stand out in the trailer where he looks like a giant compared to the Memphis Mafia, and especially Priscilla, who, is very short herself. But here, he just towers over her in some of the scenes, and it looks a bit awkward. So I can't say I was like super hyped to see this movie. Going in, I'm interested to see it. My excitement level is not super. I don't know what the reaction from the general public is going to be. I don't know what the market for this movie is. Of course, it's Elvis, but I don't know. It's the Priscilla side of the story, which in the 80s, her book was really big. They made the made-for-TV movie. I've seen that one numerous times. We're almost 40 years past when that book came out. And I don't know what the market is on it. And, with EP not really endorsing it either, it's not going to get that push from them. So I don't know how it's going to do at the box office. I am interested to see it. I have some reservations about Jacob's performance based on the trailer, which probably isn't fair since it's so brief, but that's just kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah, as all the listeners probably already heard my thoughts before we even saw this trailer. My interest level was really low, and this trailer kind of plummeted it even more.
Oh no!
I'm just not a fan of this dude as Elvis, because to me he doesn't scream anything of Elvis. I think Dale Midkiff was even better in Elvis and Me back in the '80s, and he didn't even put on this heavy Elvis affect. He just kind of spoke the way he does. If you watch Pet Sematary, he kind of sounds the same in that too. But this dude looks like he's trying to sound like Elvis, and that's just coming out wrong. And I think that's the problem people have. And then, as Ryan said, just physically, he doesn't scream Elvis to me. He's just so towering and imposing. And I put on our chat, like, that age gap is even more accentuated, just how much bigger he is than Priscilla, or what was it, Kaylee Spaney? Is that how you say her name? She looks fine. She looks fine. I really have no problem with her performance or what brief little snips that we saw. I think she'll do a good job. But otherwise, this film is really it's everything that I don't like about the whole Elvis story. His personal life. There's going to be no music, as you guys said. Maybe there'll be one or two songs that have nothing to do with Elvis. I'm just wondering, why couldn't they add more Elvis music? Sure, they don't have EP backing, but they don't own all the publishing on the songs that Elvis recorded. So they could have had somebody else come in there and record some songs, but they didn't go with that. So that's another thing that's really distancing my interest from this, is the whole lack of music. But yeah, otherwise, as Ryan said, it looks good. I like the look of it. It looks like a 60s type a throwback film. So they did good job filming it, but story-wise, I'm not sure. And box office, yeah, I wouldn't get my hopes up on this, because anyone who was ever interested in, whoever was interested in the Elvis film, once they see this, they'll be like, oh my God, this is nothing like that. So, Justin?
Well, I mean, on top of that, I would add that this movie, by comparison, doesn't have the same push that the Luhrmann film had. A24 doesn't have the same resources that WB has. There's not the cross-media promotion tie-ins, with all the musicians and stuff like that on the soundtrack. Like, as we talked about last year, in the lead up to it, like, they had Eminem promoting the movie on his social media and all the other soundtrack artists. And this is pretty much just A24 and whatever the film critics and film media want to cover it, however much they want to cover it. So I don't expect that this is going to catch fire for a lot of people in the same way. But overall, I mean, similarly, I think it looks very well crafted. One of the things you mentioned, Ryan, that I think is really worth hitting home is the fact that Jacob Elordi, like, not only does he tower over Kaylee, which does, like, I see the criticism of the, making the age gap more apparent, but, like, there's that one shot that of him towering over the rest of the Memphis Mafia, and it's pretty comical. Like, he makes everyone else look like they're freaking Charlie Hodge.
Imagine him with the real Charlie Hodge. Oh my God, it'd be like Tom Thumb.
Yeah, well, that's what I sent to you guys in the chatter. I couldn't tell if that was supposed to be Charlie or Joe Esposito or whoever it was behind him, but he looked like he was at his waist, and I was like, "Is this Elvis and Peter Dinklage here? Or like, what's going on here?"
I mean, like, Jacob can't control his own height or whatever, and
they controlled the casting.
They could have cast.
Yeah, exactly. You got to factor that in when you. I'm not one of these people who, like, we all saw when Austin got cast, and people were like, oh, he doesn't look enough like him. We came on here and we said, well, no one's going to look exactly like Elvis. And that's true. And I agree with that. But dude, he's 6'5", and he really doesn't look like him at all. And
I will say,
and the voice
facially,
is not good.
Facially,
either.
He does look better. You're like, not by comparison to Austin or whatever, but like, he looks fine. And there's a couple shots that look pretty good. And in terms of his speaking voice, he sounds better than Kurt Russell. who was doing
Yeah.
the most
Yeah.
exaggerated Elvis
Yeah.
voice possible.
You guys got to give Kurt Russell a break. I mean, the guy became Elvis 2 years after the real Elvis died, so it's not like he had no blueprint on how to play Elvis.
Yeah. No, and that's fair. That's fair. What were you going to say,
In
Beck?
terms of, I was just going to say, like, Taker's defense of not looking like Elvis, they couldn't really afford prosthetics for this movie, could they?
No, they had a very small budget by comparison. Although I will say, I thought it was interesting that they include a shot of the Hilton, and it actually has the Hilton branding, which the Luhrmann film did not have.
Oh, wow. I didn't know. So I was going to
Interesting.
bring that up because at the very beginning of the movie, they show a poster at the Hilton, and it's 72 era Elvis with the jumpsuit, but it says international at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So when I saw that, I was like, maybe they didn't get the rights. Yeah.
There was someone on our Facebook page who mentioned, I didn't like that it cut, from, I think it's Curry Grant asking Priscilla, like, hey, do you like Elvis? And then it cuts to an image of Elvis, in the 70s on stage. But, like, I think the reason why that is because I don't think there's any other performance, like, anywhere close to on stage other than the 70s in this movie. I don't think we're getting, the 60s. I haven't seen any indication that the 68 special is in any way depicted whatsoever. So
Come on, do you really think they would go that deep? Just that shot of him spreading his cape. I'm like, this dude's cape must be huge. He could probably fly with that cape. That's how big it is. I'm like, holy crap. His wingspan is huge.
Oh. Yeah, Justin, I just went back and watched. So yeah, it's back to back. They show the Hilton marquee, and then they immediately go to the posters which say international, and he's clearly it looks like 72 Elvis. So I guess we've ID'd the first historical error in this.
Yeah. I mean, that maybe those two shots themselves will be separate in the film itself, but yeah, that definitely seems like an inconsistency there.
Well, I mean, not even just if they're back to back, but that they're calling it the international while depicting him later in his career on the poster, which is wrong either way. Yeah,
that's true. But yeah, overall, I mean, I guess we're kind of doing the breakdown, but yeah, my overall gist is that, like, as I was predicting earlier, like, it looks like a very well-crafted film. I think Kaylee Spaney's going to be fantastic in it. She clearly already won an award for it at Cannes. Venice, right.
What did she win?
She won Best Actress at Venice.
Yeah. Do they just give those to anybody?
Oh, stop.
Well, I mean, the movie has to be shown there.
Okay.
But
What was it up against?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, that kind
if
of
you're
award,
the only
though,
one playing, it's really easy to win awards.
that kind of award, though, I mean, that's going to be the market for this film. Is going to be like hardcore cinephiles are probably going to see it because of hearing about that, and it's going to be the hardcore Elvis fans. And outside of that, I don't know that there's much of a market for the film, which I'm sure they knew that going in. Probably it has a much smaller budget, as you said, than Elvis from Baz Luhrmann, obviously, but it's going to be a very short theatrical run, and then everyone who wants to see it will probably see it, and that'll be that. I don't think there's going to be a ton of media publicity for it, but we shall see.
Yeah. Overall, though, dialogue-wise and scene-wise, it seems like this is an extremely faithful adaptation of her book. Like, there is nothing that is really new or surprising or just there's nothing in here that takes me by surprise. Like, I cut together a little fun thing for all of the other co-hosts before we got on the call this afternoon, partly just as an experiment to see how much was there, but also just to get myself familiarized with the individual shots of this trailer. But I went through and I actually took the 1980, was that 8 or 9, 88 TV movie, and cut out a whole bunch of scenes from that film and lined them up with the trailer, basically the edit of the trailer. And there's a lot that it seems like shot for shot almost. Line for line, dialogue wise, there's the conversation that Elvis and her father are having about, she's old, mature for her age or whatever it is that Elvis said, and you don't have to worry about her. That's verbatim from not only the book, but also from the 88 movie.
What are your intentions? Come on, you're Elvis Presley. You've got women throwing themselves at you. Why our daughter? She's only 14.
Well, sir, I'm very fond of her.
The time you spend together, what do you do?
I think what my husband means is what...
Anne, I mean, what do you do?
I told you. Talk.
Sir, Priscilla's mature for her age, and I like her company. It's been kind of lonely. Being away from home and all. And I guess you might say I need somebody to talk to.
And some of the other shots of like her sitting at the casino table in Vegas, playing is that blackjack?
Yeah.
And that shot almost shot for shot, just Elvis and Priscilla reversed in the seat from the '88 movie.
Oh, Coppola probably watched this for sure, the old film. Just as Baz probably watched a bunch of the other ones too.
Obviously, there are a few shots that aren't in the original film. Like, there's a nice shot of Elvis and Priscilla where they're basically having their photo taken. You can tell that there's a light stand there for the photographer, which is where we get, they're obviously going to depict them taking the famous family pictures together. And some of the home footage that we're familiar with from real life of them playing at the pool or bumper cars or things like that. Like, that's obviously rooted in historical accuracy in the sense of, like, they did family things together.
We got to make a note, though. This won't be as detailed as the older film, right? Because that older film was over 2 nights. 2 hours each with commercials, so this obviously is not going to be able to include all that stuff.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is that I think the narrative is going to be much, much tighter than that earlier film. I in rewatching the little bits that I did before when I was editing this, I was realizing, like, there's a lot of scenes in there that I had forgotten about. And also Priscilla narrates that, and there's a whole bunch of like historical montages that I'm sure will not be included, where it's just like setting up the context of like what's going on in culture at the time over the course of their career.
Right away, it has a negative for me because Billy Greenbush is not portraying Vernon Presley, so that's
like the TV show.
Billy Greenbush is awesome.
But it does look like they are going to acknowledge Anne Margaret and that relationship, which, of course, has been depicted not only in the Elvis and Me TV movie, but also the 2005 CBS biopic with Jonathan Rhys Meyers.
There's a lot of rumors about you.
Was there something you're hiding?
I don't have a goddamn thing to hide.
I need a woman who understands that things like this might happen. Are you going to be here or not?
It doesn't look like they edited Jacob into old Anne Margaret and Elvis pictures. It looks like they cast a new actor for Anne Margaret. I don't know if she's actually playing in any scenes or if she's just a photo model.
Yeah, because they show the movie magazine or whatever where you can see the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And of course, we're going to see a lot of the, him tearing the clothes out of the closet and, threatening to send her home, him giving her the pills where she's obviously going to fall asleep for several days. Events that we've known about for years and years and years. We've all seen these depicted multiple times as fans.
The chair throwing bit, is that in the TV movie as well?
So that is not in the TV movie, but it is in the book.
Yeah, it's in the book.
Yeah, but it was not in the movie. Instead, he throws, I don't know if it's a candlestick or something.
Yeah, he throws something. I can't remember what.
And similarly, there's in relation to the Anne Margaret stuff, it's not in the '88 film, but the dialogue about Anne Margaret and him telling Priscilla, I need a woman to understand, who's going to understand that this sort of thing might happen. Are you going to be that person or not? That was also depicted in the 2005 biopic with Jonathan Rhys Meyers.
Look, damn it!
I didn't know things were going to get out of hand. I want a woman who's going to understand that things like this might happen. Are you going to be that woman or not?
So that is also in there. Like I said, not a lot of this is super surprising in any way. I do like in some of the shots, it looks like there is like a retro filter on it, like it's old film stock, which is a nice visual. The color grading is really nice. I did notice on the scene where he throws the chair, it makes me wonder where this is going to fall chronologically in this, because it looks like they're in an office together. And in the book, the time when he gets upset with her, there's a moment where he gets upset with her about the demo recordings, and or is it the acetate? I can't remember. But she gives her opinion, and he gets upset about her opinion about the music. And you can see on the wall that there's like a gold record with GI Blues on it in this trailer. But the way that it's contextualized in this trailer makes it seem like she's upset about the makeup, and that she maybe doesn't like the makeup that she's wearing. I wasn't clear on that, but it seems like it's the same scene. There is a shot of her getting her diploma from school, which again also depicted almost shot for shot, even though in the '88 one it was a pink robe, whereas in this one it's a white robe, which makes actually more sense to me. I don't think the Catholic school would have pink robes. And we did get a shot of her practicing karate with Mike Stone.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure that was going to be included in this.
It was in the '88 one too.
Yeah, it was in there, but I hadn't heard anything about this one. So yeah, and then the last shot of the trailer is her in her car, getting ready to exit the gates of Graceland.
I want a life of my own.
Yeah, overall, looks like a very polished product. You know, and acting wise, like I said, I think Kaylee will be fine. Jacob, his vocal may not be up to snuff for everyone, but also he's Australian, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
So he's masking an accent.
Yeah.
So definitely better than Jonathan Rhys-Meyers' masked accent too.
Yeah, and like I know that Ryan and Gurdeep don't like it, but as I said, it's not. It could have been so much worse. Like it could be that really exaggerated accent. So I'd rather have that than.
Now it makes sense why you're forgiving of this.
This Australian.
Yeah, I was wondering where this sympathy from Beck was coming. It all makes sense now.
You know, it's funny you say that, Beck, though, because we talked about with Austin Butler how what made him so good is he sounded natural, and he didn't sound like an impersonator who was trying to just do the Elvis voice. And the first time I watched this, I actually did feel like when he talks, he's just trying to do the Elvis voice, and it almost gave me the impersonator vibe, or, tribute artist vibe. Don't want to offend anyone.
Catches himself quick.
Yeah, but I don't know. That is the vibe I got the first time I heard it, and I kind of cringed when I heard him talk. Is just, I don't know if trying too hard is the right. It didn't sound natural. It just
100%.
It came off like he's trying to do the Elvis voice too much.
Even that image of him in the '70s in a jumpsuit, I was like, that looks like an ETA.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, same with Del Midkiff back in the 80s. So I don't know if you've gone back and revisited his 70s sequences from that film.
Oh, it wasn't good. But at least he had Roddy McDowell singing some songs.
Yeah,
there we go.
Still don't know who's doing the voice on this one. We know we see him at the piano at least once from that first trailer, so we'll see what comes of it. But yeah, was there anything else that you guys saw that stuck out to you as noteworthy in the trailer?
There's one scene where it's early 70s, probably like around 70, 71, and Elvis is bedded down with Lisa and Priscilla right there, and he's got sunglasses on, and he looks exactly like if you go back and look at Steve Bender in the Hollywood sign scene in
Yes.
Yeah.
that it looks like Elvis is Steve Bender in this trailer. His hair's actually brown in the scene. It's not black.
I see that. I see the exact shot you're talking about.
And I was like, oh my God, like it just looks even like the outfit Steve Bender was wearing in that scene. But it's supposed to be Elvis, but his hair is brown, and even just the styling of the outfit, I was like, whoa, is that Steve Bender?
Maybe it is.
No, it's pretty clearly supposed to be Elvis and Lisa and Priscilla, I believe. If I remember, I got to rewind here and watch it again. But yeah, it's that stood out to me.
Oh, sorry, Ryan. The thing that stood out to me and made me giggle a little bit is the Hilton, what do you call it? Sorry, guys, I'm not really with it today. What do you call the thing with marquee? Yeah, the Hilton marquee where they've got Hilton along the top of it. It's almost like they've taken the shot and inserted text and just typed in the Hilton above it. It just looks so amateur, but then they didn't have a special effects budget, so that's fair enough. But it did make me giggle a little bit.
Justin, do we know what the budget was on this?
I think $20 million.
And that's not including marketing. I mean, I don't even know
No,
how
I
much
don't think
marketing
so.
there's going to be.
I think that's just
Like,
production.
who knows? Yeah, okay. And are they allowed, the actors, to do any kind of press? I guess not, right? Because of the strike.
They are.
No,
They
strike's
are.
over now.
Strike's over.
The actor strike is over as well? I didn't. When did that happen? Today?
Or wait, no, the writer's strike is...
The writer's strike is over. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Why am I listening to Beck about Hollywood news? Come on. Furthest away from everyone from Hollywood.
Oh, stop. I feel like you hold it against me, Gurjeet, that I live in Australia. You're very rude
I
sometimes.
love Australia, Beck. Would love to go there someday, except for the big spiders.
Yeah, I sent Ryan pictures of big spiders and they freaked you out, didn't they, Ryan?
If the strike isn't over, A24 I know had some kind of agreement that they were allowed to film, but does that extend into marketing and if the actors are allowed to talk about the film? I wonder.
I do want to say there was the press conference in Venice where they were there. Jacob and Kaylee were, because Priscilla was there too. So they were already doing press overseas. So yeah, I guess so.
That probably extends to it as well. So yeah. And hopefully the actor strike is over by then as also.
Hey, I got to go back to this Elvis as the Steve Bender impersonator scene because I pulled it up and I got them side by side here. So in Elvis with Steve Bender is wearing like a navy jacket and shirt. He's got the scarf on, and he's got like reddish orange tinted sunglasses. And in the Priscilla scene, Elvis is wearing a navy shirt, reddish orange tinted sunglasses, also has a scarf on. I mean, if you do the side by side, it is crazy how similar they look. And yes, Elvis does not have jet black hair in the scene. You got the bus behind him and the guys, and he looks like he's kissing Priscilla and Lisa goodbye as they're about to hit the road. But you just watch the scene if you're out there listening, and tell me that's not Steve Bender out of 2022.
Yeah, I have that still on the new trail. I'm like, yeah, he does. I'm waiting for him to say, and who are you, Elvis?
Yeah, exactly.
But
exactly.
That's uncanny. I don't know why they would go with that costume. That's so weird.
Have you guys read many of the reviews yet from Priscilla that have come out?
Oh,
not really.
Yeah, I've been kind of keeping up with them, and it's been really interesting because it almost seems like to me, I don't think there's a single reviewer who has watched this film who didn't already have an opinion about Elvis and Priscilla going into the movie. And there were a lot of reviews that were actually quite generous, in terms of the way that they talked about the depiction of the relationship. And from everything it sounds like, again, this is an extremely faithful adaptation of the book, which means that as Priscilla is in real life, she ends up, having a very clear opinion that like Elvis was a complicated guy, and that he's not just, a hard and fast villain, an evil person or things like that. And I see a lot of worry in the Elvis fandom when you're in, forums or things like that, of people going, is this going to flip, the public opinion of Elvis on its head? And I honestly, like, as I've seen more of the reviews come out, now seeing the second trailer and seeing just how faithful it is to the earlier versions of this story from the book and from the 88 movie, I'm just more assured of just like, yeah, this is just going to be like just an extra, like, it's just a thing that's going to happen, and it's not really going to sway public opinion one way or the other,
It won't even have as much high profile as the Baz film, so
yeah,
I don't think people have to worry.
There were quite a few reviews that basically just said, like, this would be an easier story if Elvis was just evil, It would be easy to hate him, but you can't. So.
There's also, like, in the trailer, did you see that Jacob's performance is described as jaw-dropping?
Well, that's a way of describing it.
My jaw certainly dropped, yes.
Yeah, there's certainly going to be a lot of comparisons to Austin Butler, naturally, that it's happening in such close proximation, but I don't think that there's really much worth comparing in there. Jacob's doing his own thing. He's had much less time. Gritty, speaking of Kurt Russell not having enough time to prep, Jacob Elordi not having enough time to prep, so...
Yeah, but he can still see other depictions of Elvis. Kurt Russell had nothing. He had Elvis, that's it.
Fair. So...
How I already talked about my interest level now that the second trailer is out. How about you guys? Beck, Ryan, how's your interest level now?
It hasn't impacted mine. Like I think I've said on previous episodes, like I'm just quite curious about this one. Like I don't think it's going to blow me out of the water, but I'll definitely see it. And certainly the trailer hasn't made me more excited about it because it's pretty, as I said, pretty vanilla and predictable. But so yeah, I mean, I feel exactly the same about going to the movie. What about you, Ryan?
I think curious would describe me too. I'm not, I haven't had the dates circled on my calendar or anything like that. I would say maybe I'm a little bit more intrigued just because I was pleasantly surprised at how good the film looks visually, like I said at the beginning. So that makes me a little more, it does look pretty polished. So in that regard, I'm a little more curious about it, I would say.
Yeah.
Justin Gosman, what about you?
I think that I'm very similar to Ryan on that. I'm, a little warmer on it now. I'm pretty comfortable with what I think it's going to be and what it's going to entail and what sort of impact it won't have. So, yeah, I'm interested in seeing it. It'll be a probably just fine movie with some nice performances and some good cinematography and good costumes, nice visual flair. So, yeah.
I guess I'm the only one who's kicking and screaming going to the theater to watch this. I'm like, oh God.
It would make me laugh if you come out of it like with a glowing
blown away.
Awake.
Yeah.
And make you a bet. I make you guys a bet right now. When I go see this opening night or whenever, it's gonna be less than 10 people there. I make you a bet.
Oh yeah.
Right now, I predict. So
we'll see. Yeah.
Maybe everyone can tell us how their theater experience is when we do go watch this.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's at the end of this month, so. All right. Well, I think that's it. Was there any other big Elvis news to cover while we're here in the room together, so to speak, that's come up that's worth mentioning? I think that's pretty much it, because otherwise, on the main feed, we're going to continue to have a few more episodes of the Elvis Presley and Country Music series, and Patreon will be continuing to get new episodes as the month goes along, so they'll just be in early access. But anything else?
No.
Oh, the AI thing that you two did, Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
We threw this out on our social media on Facebook, but yeah, Time Magazine posted a thing that you two had done as part of their new concert at the Sphere in Las Vegas. Had this big wrap around screen presentation, and part of that was an Elvis collage, I guess you would say, some of which is clearly footage of the real Elvis. There's some Austin Butler in there, and there's also apparently AI images in there as well. So
cool. And also the Argyle trailer had a remix of Suspicious Minds.
Right. Yes. That looks interesting.
That sounded really good. I can't wait to. I hope they release the full version of that.
It's time for you to meet the real Agent Argyle.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
All right, well, that is it for now. Thank you, everyone, for coming together under much better circumstances, I reckon.
Yes,
so,
definitely.
So it was much more fun. So, Ryan and Beck, do you want to take it away?
It's a hot time in Florida.
It's a rainy night in Georgia.
You've been listening to the TCBcast, an unofficial Elvis fan podcast.
Someone must have stomped on his head with those blue suede shoes.
Thank you and good night.